If you're thinking about getting Invisalign, these are 10 things you need to know about from a dentist perspective. These are the most common questions people will ask me before they get started. Number 1, yes, you will have a lisp for at least the first week, but it gets better. And you can make it go away quicker if you practice talking. So go to your social media feed, Facebook, Instagram, whatever floats your boat, and read out the captions. Ultimately, that practicing of the phonetics will mean that your brain will click that much quicker and you'll have no problem. We have a lot of patients who work in media, and that's one of the big things that they're concerned about, because obviously they're presenting a lot of the time. They don't have an issue. That's the thing. That's the beauty of Invisalign, is because it's so inconspicuous. To prove a point, so I have been waiting for my refinement for like 6 weeks, because as a dentist, I've been in Invisalign for 2 years and it should have been like a 3-month case. It is what it is. I always put my patients first, but I haven't worn them for like 2 months, and this is what it sounds like when I've just put them in now. Yeah, you can probably hear a little bit of a lisp. You'll get used to it super quickly. Number 2 is bring lip balm to an appointment. I always have it available for my patients, because particularly when we're doing our scans and retracting your lips and cheeks for the photos, it's not painful, but it does get a bit of a stretch after a while. And particularly if your lips are dry, you can get those little cracks in the corner of your mouth, and they are the worst, and they take forever to heal. I feel like already I sound pretty normal, and I've had these in for like 10 minutes. So you will be fine. If I can do it, you can do it too. Little bonus fact as well. People always get stressed out about, oh no, how am I gonna get them out? Like, are they hard to get out? My tip for you is don't go from the front, because you can sometimes pull the attachments off. Go from the top on the inside, like that, simple, easy. And then for the bottom, it's exactly the same. Like that. Number 3 is that your dentist may or may not have mentioned this, but you will have potentially some special customized little tooth-colored attachments, which are like little tooth-colored bumps on the teeth that are designed to specifically move that individual tooth in a certain way with a certain amount of force. When you first have these placed, it will feel so weird on the teeth. Your bite might feel a little bit funny, and it might feel a bit rough on your cheeks and lips. This is normally for like the first week, and then after that, I don't know what it is, because your cheek and your lip doesn't get any tougher, but somehow your brain clicks and it's not irritated by it anymore. I had a lot of crowding on my lower teeth. The tray on the bottom, down in this area, was rubbing against my lip. And so I thought, oh, I might polish it and see if that makes it better. It didn't. It was like a knife. It was not comfortable. So I just used orthodontic wax over those little areas. But honestly, 99% of people are fine. If you do end up being one of those rare people like me, where it feels just a bit uncomfortable, you'll get through it. Number 4. For the first few weeks, especially for adults, you can find that your teeth feel a bit tender. Back to my own personal experience and from what I've seen with my patients, particularly if you've never had braces until that moment as an adult, that's the first time that your body's ever moved your teeth through bone. And it's a biological and physiological process where we're activating cells within our body that create new bone whilst also taking away bone. And the thing with Invisalign is it's not pulling the teeth to the next stage, it's actually physically pushing them and expressing force in a gentle and controlled manner. So what I find is once the ball starts rolling with that process, it might be tight for the first day or 2 and then you're fine afterwards. But when I first started, I was quite tender. And if you need to take some paracetamol or ibuprofen, that's totally fine just to get you through the first few weeks. I found things like crisps or biscuits, snacky things really were really hard to eat. Even carrot, like it was tricky. So I sort of just stuck to softer things like fish, pasta, whatever works. Number 5 is people get very worried about what the attachment's going to look like on their teeth. Typically, the only person who can notice them is yourself, myself, maybe the odd dentist if you're out and about, and the people in the room who are also wearing Invisalign. It's kind of like when you buy a new car, everywhere you go, you see that bloody car. It's the same with Invisalign. Normally you would pay no attention to it. And when I say to patients that I'm in it, they're like, oh, really? Yes, I am. It's largely in one's head. I have professional models who have attachments on their front teeth, only where necessary, but it doesn't impact their ability to work, you know? They are very, very inconspicuous. Number 6, if you ever had braces as a child or a teenager, cleaning when it comes to Invisalign is so much easier. Essentially, you're just brushing your teeth and flossing your teeth how you normally would if you didn't have anything on your teeth. You can take the trays out, which makes it so much simpler. If you're a big coffee and tea drinker, you may find that you get a little bit more staining around the attachments on the teeth, but that's something that's easily fixed with something like an airflow clean. Number 7. This is my favorite because people say this and I'm just like, that's not how science works. There's no such thing as being too old for Invisalign, or braces for that matter. Age does not mean that your teeth can't move. It might mean that your bone is a bit more dense than someone who is, say, 15, and what we find when we're monitoring 15-year-olds with artificial intelligence, that they can do some crazy amount of movements in the space of 30 days. But science is science. You can still move teeth around. The movement may be slower, but with the right biomechanics, we can move them. In fact, our oldest Invisalign patient was 90, and he was on to his 7th marriage. So if he can do it, you can do it too in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Whenever you want to do it, you can. Number 8. As I said at the start about the whole attachments rubbing side of things, even though Invisalign doesn't have wires and brackets like your classic braces, I always personally send my patients away with some ortho wax because it can be handy with helping with any rubbing of the trays. The trays themselves are a very smooth plastic, but it's something new and something foreign in the mouth, and particularly if you're somebody who just fixates and plays with things, it's the best thing to be able to just pop it over and not worry about it anymore. Number 9, we're coming in with the hard truths now. You need to wear them for a minimum of 20 to 22 hours a day. If I don't think you're going to be very compliant, I tell you 22 hours a day because we know that it will likely probably only be 20 in an ideal world. This is really important because the way we move our teeth is through consistent, gentle force. If you go in and just hit it hard with that force, like we did once upon a time in orthodontics, you will actually burn the roots out and shorten them. That's why Invisalign is amazing, because it's very safe and very biologically compatible with the tissues of the body. But if you don't wear them, they're not going to work. In fact, we do have some patients who just know in their heart of hearts, as much as they would love Invisalign, they're not going to be compliant. And that's okay. We band them up with some brackets and we whiz them through. It's like the bane of my existence when people are like, it's not really working. And I'm like, you're not really doing what you need to do. That's probably why. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. But I just want people to have beautiful teeth. And it's like, how many times do I need to tell you? And number 10 to round us off, don't drink anything other than cold or room temperature water whilst the aligners are in your mouth. The reason why we avoid hot drinks, number 1, because it can warp the trays and the plastic because it is hot and hot things melt things. I know it's very tempting when your aligners do get a little bit janky to be like, oh, well, I'll just have a snack, or I'll just have some coffee or some tea or even sparkling water. But I would strongly avoid doing that because the thing is, drinks like coffee and sparkling water are acidic in nature, and you've got these little tooth-colored bumps on the teeth. If you're drinking that and it's sitting up against the teeth, that's acid sitting up against your teeth for a prolonged period of time. And acid will etch and damage the tooth. So when you get the attachments off, if there's been prolonged demineralization like that, you'll actually have a little scar. Now, it is solvable, but it's extra time and expense. So that's 10 things to take away and think about. Invisalign is an amazing treatment modality. It's a team effort between you and your dentist to get phenomenal results. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'm always happy to answer, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of reservation around it. A procedure that takes time and is an investment as well. But it's one of those things that we live in a world where first impressions really do count. Whether we are willing to admit it or not, in the first 7 seconds that you meet someone, you make a judgment call on their intelligence level, their level of attractiveness, their level of capability, based on their appearance. It's just how it is. It's a survivalist instinct built into us. Are they a friend or are they an enemy? Are they capable or are they going to get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger? I don't think you'll ever regret doing Invisalign as long as you and your dentist are on the same page.